Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Wellness Whisperers podcast, where we talk about everything public health. My name is Michael Rodriguez.
I'm Jana Pasmonte, and today we're going to be talking about a very special person in public health history. His name is Dr. Robert Koch. And why don't you tell us a little bit more about him?
I would love to. So just some more details about his life. Robert Koch was born on December 11th, 1843 in Klausthal-Zellerfeld, Germany. He was born into a mining family, and he was the third of 13 kids. Can you believe that? 13 kids? That is a lot of kids. After completing his schooling, he went on his way to the University of Göttingen. While at the University of Göttingen, he studied medicine and became a physician.
Awesome.
Very educated man.
Yep. So going into a little bit of what he did. So in the 1870s, there was a disease that was killing both humans and animals around Wallstein. And Koch was basically able to prove that the anthrax disease, which is the disease that was killing all of them, was caused by a single pathogen. And before Koch's discovery, people didn't know that microorganisms and diseases were correlated with each other. They thought that diseases were caused by bad spirits or by bad blood in your body. And he was also able to effectively isolate bacteria in a lab and grow it and see how it worked in humans.
Oh, wow. So kind of just adding on to those details, in the 19th century, tuberculosis plagued Germany and took a seventh of the population. So during this time, the overall cause and prevention was unknown of tuberculosis, and people didn't really even know it was tuberculosis. They were just this random disease that was taking out a bunch of people. So one thing that Robert Koch did was he discovered and announced the discovery of the tuberculosis bacterium, so basically naming it. So this kind of made him popular to the outside world, kind of put him on the map, so people were actually looking into Germany and looking at Mr. Robert Koch and looking at what he did. So another thing he also did in Germany as well is he investigated the cholera outbreak in Germany. We all know how terrible cholera is, right? So he investigated the outbreak, and with his knowledge on how diseases spread and his hygiene methods, he was actually able to contain the outbreak in the 1890s. So, wow.
Very interesting. So let's go ahead and talk about how this connects to our public health class and the things that we're learning. The things that he discovered and that he did definitely connects to population health science, which is basically the science that explains what causes health. And this can then be used in public health to make sure that all the populations are healthy and safe.
And also another thing he had a big impact on was primary disease prevention. And for those who don't know, primary disease prevention is basically implementing measures to stop people from getting diseases in the first place. So some of the things that Robert Koch helped with when it comes to primary disease prevention are his identification of disease-causing microorganisms. He improved sanitation practices, as we said before, with his hygiene. He was a very cleanly man. So his sanitation practices were very extreme. And development of vaccination and immunizations. He led in the development of both of those. So that's very, pretty substantial.
Yeah, and finally another thing that he relates to in public health is public health ethics, because in this you deal with the best interest of the entire population. So
a utilitarianism kind of form of ethics.
Where you kind of want to do what's right and do something that helps a lot of people. The
greater good.
Yeah.
Of course.
And obviously in discovering these things, while he didn't actively go out and heal people or anything, it was his discoveries that allowed for public health and for these diseases to kind of be contained and prevented.
Yeah. So I want to ask you a question. How do you think this relates to public health today?
So Dr. Koch discovered something called Koch's postulates, which is basically a framework for how diseases and their causes are identified. So when when diseases pop up and we think that it's caused by a microorganism, there's a lot of testing that has to go into to prove that this microorganism is causing this disease. And by discovering this, we can kind of figure out how diseases are caused. And in public health, you need to be able to understand the scientific side of diseases and see how we can treat that and how we can help people.
Yeah, and just adding to that, a big part of public health is the scientific aspect. And we both believe that, Robert Koch kind of demonstrated that in his scientific aspects of, doing research for tuberculosis, doing research for cholera. You can definitely see the scientific aspect in that. So science and public health have to work together to ensure the population is safe and healthy, and we definitely see that with Mr. Robert Koch.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Some final personal reflections. What were your thoughts on him?
Overall, I think he is a very influential man in the public health community. I mean, you look at all of his achievements, all of the things that he's done, you know, with cholera, tuberculosis, his postulates, like you were saying. All these are the stepping stones for where we are today, and, you know, how we deal with diseases and stuff. I know, kind of relating it back to COVID-19. I mean, you see how bad it was when that was going around.
Yeah.
And, you know, you see how far we've come from then, you know, with quarantine, you know, vaccine mandates, using masks. So we can all thank those things, and we can, like, thank the people, almost like the forefathers of everything, like Mr. Robert Koch. So, yeah.
And I definitely think that he is a very, not really talked about person, especially in public health.
At all. I don't think so at all.
I'm sure like a lot of people don't know about him, but he was definitely like one of the people who introduced us to like microbiology and how that relates to people's health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it, you know. Thank you guys for tuning into our podcast, and we hope you guys have a good day.
Have a great day.
Have a great day. Leave that in. That was funny.